Welcome to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. The show that takes you from diaper disasters to the legendary teenage eye roll. I'm your host, Clementine Lord, here to guide you through every stage of parenting, from toddlers testing your patience to adult children testing your Wi-Fi limits. Parenting is a wild ride, and no matter your child's age, you'll always find a moment where you think, are you fucking kidding me? Hey friends, welcome back to Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. I'm your host, Clementine Lord, and today I want to talk about something that's been simmering under the surface in a lot of our lives. This has been an episode I've wanted to do since I started this podcast, but it took me a while to figure out how to do it. It's not pretty, it's not cute, and it's definitely not what the parenting books said we'd feel. Today's episode is called Mom Rage, a love story. Yeah, you heard that right. Rage and love, tangled up together like some sort of Danielle Steele novel. Because that white, hot, throat-tight, gut-screaming frustration you felt, it's not personal failure. It's not a character flaw. It's a very real and very human response to an impossible situation. And maybe, just maybe, it's love trying to get your attention. So pour your coffee or your wine or lock yourself in the bathroom, whatever you need to get through this, because we're going in. So what the hell is mom rage? Let's drop into a scene. Maybe it's yours, maybe it's mine. I hope to God it's universal. It's 7:42 a.m., school starts at 8. The sun is technically up, but your soul, not so much. One child is sobbing, actual heaving sobs, because their cereal is touching milk, and you're trying to keep a straight face, while also wondering, isn't that the entire point of cereal? Meanwhile, your teenager has disappeared into their room, which is really just a teen-sized sensory deprivation chamber. At this point, no amount of door knocking, yelling, or passive-aggressive hallway size is getting them up for school. Across the living room, your toddler, naked, unbothered, and deeply committed to the chaos, is doing laps like a joyful little streaker. The dog is barking because you forgot he exists. The lunch boxes are still empty, and your partner, they're sitting in the kitchen counter, scrolling Instagram like they're live streaming from another universe. They're oblivious to it all. And you've already asked nicely, you've reminded, you've redirected, and you have tried to channel your inner Montessori goddess. And then you snap. The voice that comes out of your mouth sounds nothing like you. It's loud, it's sharp, it's volcanic, and that moment is like something inside of you breaks open. This isn't just yelling. It isn't just losing your cool. It's full body, blood pressure spiking, heart racing. I don't even know who the fuck I am now. Rage. That, my friends, is what we call mom rage. And it's not rare. It's not unusual. And it's not a sign you're broken or unfit or ungrateful. It's just not what we were prepared for. Because if you grew up like many of us did, you were told that motherhood would be beautiful, fulfilling, a sacred calling. No one mentioned it might also make you feel like throwing a Paw Patrol plate across the fucking room because someone asked for peanut butter toast and then screamed at you when you gave it to them. Minna Dubin wrote a book called Mom Rage, The Everyday Crisis of Modern Motherhood, and describes this experience as the rage that mothers don't talk about. And that silence, it's deafening. I know I don't talk about this with my girlfriends. We don't get together and say, man, you know how I really fucked up last night? Sometimes we joke about it. Sometimes there's Instagram reels about it. But we don't really talk about it. We aren't just expected to mother, we're expected to do it gracefully, gratefully, with zen-like calm and a Pinterest-worthy snack rotation. We're told to be patient, selfless, eternally nurturing. We're expected to be soft, but also strong, present, but not needy, high functioning, but never burnt out. So when rage hits, we don't even know where to put it. Honestly, I think most of us probably feel shame and guilt and embarrassment. We question whether we're even cut out for this mom thing at all. But let me say this as clearly as I fucking can. Mom rage is not a fluke. It's not a freak out. It is a natural response to being asked to meet impossible expectations under unrelenting pressure without adequate support. Seriously, it's what happens when every drop of your patience has been siphoned out of you. Every mom at a time. It's the symptom, not the cause. It's the alarm bell in your nervous system screaming, "This isn't sustainable." So yeah, mom rage is real. It's common and it's worth talking about. Not just so we can vent, but so we can actually start untangling the bigger questions underneath it. Questions like, why the fuck does this happen? Where does it come from? And what is it trying to tell us? Because here's the thing, your rage really does have a story to tell. And it's more than cereal. So now that we've named mom rage for what it is, that throat tight, blood boiling, holy shit, who am I moment, let's talk about where it really comes from. Because it's not random. You don't just snap one day over a missing shoe or a broken crayon because you're overreacting. You snap because you're standing on top of a mountain of tiny indignities, daily sacrifices, and unmet needs. And that crayon is just the last damn straw. So I'm going to break it down. First up, we have unrealistic expectations. We are handed a script for motherhood that reads more like a PR brochure than anything rooted in real life. The cultural narrative says you're supposed to love every moment. You're supposed to glow with purpose. You're supposed to sacrifice endlessly and look cute doing it. And when you don't, when you feel irritated, tapped out, or full on fucking furious, you feel like a failure. But the truth is, those expectations were never designed by people that have woke up 5 times a night or have to breastfeed a screaming baby, run a household, hold down a job, and also remember to schedule dental appointments and buy snacks for soccer practice. They were designed to keep us performing emotional labor without questioning it. And let me tell you, that performance, it's fucking exhausting. I think it's worse than Taylor Swift doing her 3-hour set night after night. And then there's sleep deprivation. Oh, sleep. Remember her? That former lover who used to stay the night? Now she's ghosted you and she shows up once a week, maybe. Lack of sleep doesn't just make you tired, it actually impairs your brain's ability to regulate emotions. It shrinks your window of tolerance. Trust me, I've been there. The number of times I just scream so I actually get results is entirely too many to count on one hand, let alone all my fingers and toes. Your ability to cope gets smaller and smaller, and eventually someone asking you for a snack feels like an act of war. This isn't me just saying this. Science actually backs it up. Chronic sleep deprivation reduces our ability to make rational decisions and increases impulsivity. So when you find yourself yelling, "Put on your fucking shoes," like you're leading a SWAT team, it's not because you're a monster. It's because your prefrontal cortex is straight up offline. You're not failing. You're fried. Before kids, you had a sense of self. You had a name, not just a title. You weren't just so-and-so's mom. You had interests, hobbies, friendships, and time to think your own thoughts. And then you became a mom, and suddenly your name was replaced with mom. And while that title is deeply meaningful, it also comes with the weight of erasure. You become the default, the manager, the emotional center, and somewhere in all that, you just disappear. And this loss of identity, It doesn't just breed resentment, it creates confusion. Who are you now? What happened to your autonomy, your dreams, your quiet moments? You're not just angry about the socks on the floor. You're angry because you haven't had a real conversation with yourself in weeks. And the only time you're alone is when you're pooping with someone knocking on the door. And then let's talk about the really big one. Partners, this is for you. It's the lack of support. They say it takes a village, but for many of us, the village is fucking MIA. Or worse, it just expects us to run it ourselves. Support systems are threadbare. Partners often help instead of share. Families might criticize instead of pitch in. And society pats dads on the back for doing the bare minimum, while moms are expected to do all the fucking things all the time and smile about it. There's nothing more rage-inducing than watching someone else rest while you are drowning. When you're doing the emotional labor, the scheduling, the anticipating, the fixing, and no one notices, that's when rage becomes not just emotional, but existential. Because you begin to wonder, am I even allowed to need something too? And layered on top of all of that, there's the myth of handling it. The idea that if you were just more organized, more patient, more grateful, more yoga, more oat milk latte, you'd be fine. But handling it's just a fucking trap. It puts the burden on you to adapt to a system that's already broken. And when you inevitably can't, you internalize the failure. So let me be clear. You are not the fucking problem. The problem is the structure. The problem is the expectations. The problem is the chronic undersupport of mothers disguised as empowerment. Mom rage doesn't come from weakness. It comes from strength that's been stretched beyond its limits. It's like the hair tie that you try to get around your hair just one more time and it fucking snaps. And the truth is, your anger, it's not wrong. It's not dangerous. It's a signal. It's your body and your heart and your soul all screaming in unison. This is too much. I need care too. So we've talked about the pressure, the exhaustion, the identity loss. But this is where we talk about something a little sneakier. Something that doesn't show up in photos or chore charts, but seriously, it's always there. I'm talking about the mental load. If you have never heard that phrase before, fucking buckle up. Because once you see it, you'll start noticing it everywhere. The mental load is the behind-the-scenes cognitive labor of running a household. It's the constant low humming tab in the back of your brain that never, ever shuts off. And in fact, it might get a virus and 22 more tabs pop open. And for moms, it's like a never-ending group chat with your responsibilities that keep buzzing at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m. It doesn't matter. The mental load isn't washing the clothes. It's knowing that the baby is out of pajamas, the toddler only wears dinosaur shirts on Tuesdays, and the teenager needs their soccer uniform clean for the game that you forgot was happening because the sign-up sheet was buried under the 4 lunchboxes and permission slip about lice. Do I need to repeat that again? It's not just packing lunch. It's remembering that one kid hates mayonnaise, another has a nut allergy, and the third needs something cool so they don't feel weird at the lunch table. You are the memory keeper, the logistics manager, the emotional barometer, the event planner, the snack Salome. You're the one, when everyone else is pooped, you'll know who needs new shoes, when the library books are due, and how to word a text to another parent in a way that sounds chill and not like you've completely lost your mind, even though you absolutely have. This is invisible. It doesn't show up in a spreadsheet. It doesn't earn you gold stars. But it is fucking soul-crushing. Dr. Lucia Cicciola and Dr. Sunia Lutar conducted research on this, and guess what they found? Even in dual-income two-parent households where both partners worked full-time, mothers still carry the majority of the mental load. And it's not just the logistics, but the emotional work too. Moms are the ones tracking moods, remembering birthdays, regulating screen time, and knowing which child is afraid of the automatic toilet at Target. That's not instinct. It's conditioning. It's fucking work. And we are doing it all the while trying to look grateful, beautiful, because heaven forbid someone accuses us of complaining. Here's the part that breaks my heart every time. The mental load is like a shadow. No one sees it until it swallows you whole. People only notice it when you finally crack, when you yell or shut down or burst into tears over the dishwasher. But the truth is, you've been managing an invisible avalanche for months. It's not the dishes. It's the fact that your brain is trying to remember 74,000 things while also making mac and cheese and responding to a Slack message and helping with math homework and wondering if you're the only one who feels like she's slowly disappearing into the ether. And then someone, usually someone who has never had to remember what time the orthodontist closes, tells you to just relax. Those two words, just relax. At that point, you don't fucking need relaxation. You need someone to actually take something off your plate, not just to say they will. You need someone to hold the map for once, not asking you for directions while they're driving the damn car with no gas and 3 screaming passengers. And when that doesn't happen, when you keep holding it all silently, invisible, and without rest, that's when mom rage erupts. It doesn't come out of nowhere, it builds. It piles on one mental tab at a time until something as small as a forgotten water bottle feels like a personal betrayal. And the thing is, when you try to explain it, people don't fucking get it. Because it sounds like nothing. Because it's invisible. But it is actually everything. It's not the task that's killing you, it's the tracking. The weight isn't just in the doing. It's in the never not thinking about what needs to be done. So if you're sitting there wondering why you're so damn tired all the time, why rage feels closer to the surface than ever before, why you can't just chill out even on vacation, look at the load. Look how many tabs are open in your brain. And please, for the love of your own sanity, start closing some of them. This is not a problem you can fix by scheduling better or buying a new planner. This is a systemic issue. This is a societal issue. And the solution isn't better time management. It's fucking shared responsibility. If you have a teenager, ask them to help. It really is having a partner who doesn't wait to be asked, who learns bedtime routines, who knows the names of the pediatrician and how the school drop-off works, and what day of the week the library books are due. It's having a partner who doesn't get to opt out of emotional labor because they're just not good at that stuff. It's about not being the default anymore because you're not a human post-it note. You're not a walking calendar. You're not a system. Even if you're fucking good at it, you are a person. And you deserve to live and exist outside of the load you carry. Okay, so I've covered a ton of shit so far. Pressure, excitations, invisible load. But I want to go inside the body. I want to talk about what's actually happening when you feel mom rage inside like lava in your chest. Because here's the truth. This isn't just emotional. It's physiological. When you snap, when your body floods with fury over something seemingly small, that's not just being dramatic or my favorite, too sensitive. No, it's when your nervous system goes full on DEFCON 1. So let's start in the brain. The moment you feel threatened or even just overwhelmed, your amygdala, that almond-shaped little drama queen in your brain, lights up like a fucking Christmas tree. The amygdala is part of your limbic system, the seat of emotion, and its main job is to keep you alive. It detects danger, processes fear, and kicks off what we lovingly refer to as fight, flight, or freeze response. Now, back in the caveman days, this was super helpful. If a saber-toothed tiger was creeping up towards your cave, the amygdala would hit the panic button. Adrenaline would surge, your heart would pound, your pupils would dilate, your muscles would tense, and you'd either fight that furry bastard or sprint in the other direction. But in modern motherhood, there are no fucking tigers. There are just sticky countertops, homework folders, and someone yelling, "Mom!" from the bathroom because they're out of toilet paper. Still, your brain doesn't know the difference. It interprets perceived threats the same way it interprets real ones. So when you're already running on no sleep, with your stress level high, when your nervous system is frayed from weeks of doing too much with too little support, your body reacts like you're in danger. Because in a way you are. You're in emotional danger. You're drowning in cognitive overload. You're physically depleted and tapped out. So here comes the cortisol, the adrenaline, your pulse spikes, your hands shake, your jaw clenches, and you're ready to fucking attack. There's no tiger though. There's just a toddler asking for a different color cup, a teenager grumbling about how slow the Wi-Fi is, and a partner wondering what you're cooking for dinner. And the worst part, there's no outlet for this kind of fight or flight energy. You can't punch the air. You can't run away. You can't even go to the bathroom alone, much less escape the emotional minefield you're navigating. So what do? You fucking yell. You slam the drawer, you curse under your breath, you say something sharp, and instantly feel a sting of guilt. You feel the blow up happen in real time, but you can't stop it. Because by the time your amygdala has hijacked your brain, your prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking, decision-making part of your mind, it's offline. It's not just bad behavior. It's actually biology. Your brain, your heart, your nervous system, they are trying to survive. And after it's all over, then you have the crash. You feel hollow, shaky, wrung out like a dish towel. Your heart slows, the adrenaline fades, and in its place comes a familiar cocktail. Guilt, shame, and self-loathing and negative self-talk. You replay what you said, you worry you traumatized your kids, you wonder how much savings you need for their therapy, and you cry quietly in the laundry room while folding someone else's underwear. You feel like a monster when what you really are is completely overwhelmed and totally biologically hijacked. So let me pause for a minute and say something really important that maybe no one has ever said to you. This is not your fault. You are not weak. You are not crazy. You definitely are not a failure. You are a human being inside a nervous system that has been stretched to its absolute limits. You are someone who has spent days, months, maybe years pushing through stress and exhaustion and overstimulation and unspoken resentment. And now your body finally waves the white flag. And here's the hard truth. We cannot white knuckle our way out of this. You can't just breathe through it when your system is on fucking fire. You cannot meditate your way out of needing actual support. You need more than self-care. You need systemic care. Because when you're stuck in a state of chronic fight or flight, when your biology is constantly pinging, danger, 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 your fuse gets shorter, your reactions get sharper, and your body takes the hit. And eventually something gives. So if you've ever wondered, why do I explode like this? Why can't I just stay calm like the other moms? Please know, other moms are not calm. They just hide it better. Or they're breaking down in other ways. You're not weak. You're running on empty. You've been asked to do too much, with too little, and for too long. And now your brain and body are trying to wave a red flag before you completely collapse. And it's not failure. That is biology. So before we talk about fixing it, let's start by forgiving it. Let's start by saying this reaction makes sense. You make sense. Your body has been sounding the alarm for a long time. It's time that we all listen. Now here's the part I want you to hear in your bones. This is not the opposite of love. This is love that has been working overtime. Mom rage has nothing to do about not caring. It's what happens when you've cared too fucking much for too long without a break. You rage because you're exhausted from showing up, because you're sick of being the default, the fixer, the finder of lost things, the human buffer between your family and total collapse. Because your love is working so hard that it starts screaming when no one else listens. And the rage, it's the red flag in the distance saying, I can't keep doing this by myself. This isn't failure. It's a love story told in slam doors and heavy sighs. It's cold coffee that's been microwaved entirely too many times and still showing up. In the quiet aftermath where you cry in the bathroom or the closet and whisper, "I'm so tired," to no one. This is love trying to get your attention. Because real love, the kind we pour into our families, should include us too. It shouldn't leave us erased. Mom rage is the scream before the boundary. It's the crack that lets in the light. It's the moment we realize this version of motherhood doesn't fucking work anymore. And that moment, that's where things start to change. So what now? Honestly, you got it. You've hit your breaking point. You've screamed into the void, or at your kids and your partner. You've cried on the bathroom floor. You've taken as many baths as you possibly could. You've listened to your nervous system scream like a fire alarm. And now you're sitting in the emotional debris of yet another raging morning wondering, what the actual fuck do I do next? Let me start here very clearly and very loudly saying, you are not broken. I'm going to say that again. You are not broken. You are not too emotional. You are not bad at this. You definitely are not crazy, but you are maxed out. You are under-resourced. You are unsupported in ways our culture refuses to name out loud. And so now that we've named it, now that we've aired the truth, maybe we can stop pretending. Now we get to ask the next question. What is actually going to change? Because if nothing shifts, we're going to keep doing everything the same way. Swallowing our rage, white-knuckling through the mental load, taking 2.5-minute breaks in the Target parking lot with cold coffee and no plan. And then we'll burn out. Full stop. So let's talk about what you need, not in some fluffy, take a bubble bath kind of way, but in a real way. The kind of change that doesn't just soothe you for an hour, but makes the ground underneath your life feel more stable. First, drop the fucking shame. Right here, right now, say it with me. I am allowed to feel rage. Again, I am allowed to feel rage. You are totally allowed to be mad at the unpaid labor. You are allowed to resent the serial scream fests. You are allowed to feel frustration over being touched all day long with no space to breathe in your own skin. You are allowed to scream into a pillow and still be a damn good parent. Shame is a silencer. Rage is trying to tell you something. Listen to it. Not with judgment, but with true, genuine curiosity. The next thing, recognize that you don't need help. You need a partnership. Let's stop pretending that asking for help is enough, because help implies that the work is yours to begin with, that you own the labor and everyone else is just pitching in when you can't keep up. No, you don't need help. You need shared responsibility. That means having hard conversations with your partner or co-parent or teenager of what the actual mental load is and how much of it you're carrying. Not in an accusatory way, but in a, this is unsustainable and I'm drowning. They don't just need to fold laundry. They need to own the task from start to finish. Remember it, anticipate it, and do it without being asked. You are not the manager of your home. You are just one more person in it. The only way this works long-term is if you stop delegating and start sharing. People will never do it just like you, but they will get it done. And possibly, they'll get it done better than you. Then make space. And protect it like it's sacred. You do not need a break in the sense of 20 minutes where you scroll your phone in silence and then jump back into the chaos. You need space. Creative space, restorative space, real space. Time that isn't about recovery from burnout, but remembering who you actually are outside of motherhood. I have a group of girlfriends that started dancing in a dance troupe, and the joy it brings them is so palpable. I can feel it just by being in their presence. This is something they do for themselves, not for anyone else. If dancing's not your thing, go for a walk. Read a book that has nothing to do with parenting. Sign up for a class. Lay on your damn bed and just stare at the ceiling. Go out with friends and don't talk about your kids. Whatever it is, make it non-negotiable. It's not optional. It is medicine. Then close those damn mental tabs. Remember that invisible avalanche I talked about? The mental load that never shuts off. You're not going to eliminate it overnight, but you can start gently and lovingly closing those tabs. Start with one thing. Maybe your partner learns a school drop-off schedule. Maybe someone else becomes the official tooth fairy. Maybe you stop being the one who remembers every gift, RSVP, and dentist appointment. Write it down, hand it off, let it go. And if it doesn't get done perfectly, let it still be okay. Perfect is not the goal. Sustainability is. And then build a tiny rebellion. Here's the kicker. Most of what we're told about good parenting is built on fucking myths. That we should be martyrs. That if we are doing it right, we'll never need a break. That love means sacrifice. And more sacrifice. And then maybe we should just sacrifice some more. But what if we built something different? What if we parented from a place of enoughness, not of exhaustion? What if we measured our success not by how much we give up, but by how whole we remain in the process? Rebellion doesn't have to be dramatic. It can start with a boundary. No, not tonight. A refusal to pack a third lunch after bedtime because someone forgot. It can be a nap instead of another chore, a night off, a family meeting, a redistribution of labor. A deeper breath before responding. This is how your rage can transform. Not just the screaming, but creating new terms for your life. Because remember, rage was just a red flag. It's love wearing a warning label. And once we stop shaming it, it becomes a compass, a direction, a way back to ourselves. So now what? You take one step. Just one. You name what you need. You speak it out loud. And then you ask for more. Not as a favor, but as a fucking requirement. You let go of the idea that your worth is tied to how much you carry silently. You put your own name back on the list. You forgive yourself for yelling, for snapping, and for feeling lost. And more than anything, you remember this. You are not just a mom. You are a person, a whole, complicated, fierce, deserving person. And your needs, they matter. This isn't just a love story about your family. It's a love story about you too. So here we are. We've walked through the noise and the chaos. We've stood in the kitchen with cereal on the floor and tears in our eyes. We've talked about rage not as weakness, but as a red flag. Not as failure, but as love in distress. We've unpacked the science, the systems, the exhaustion. We've peeled back the layers of pressure, silence, shame, and revealed what's been underneath all along. Someone who cares so deeply, so relentlessly, that her entire nervous system started ringing the alarm. And I hope more than anything that if you've ever looked in the mirror after a blow up and thought, what is wrong with me? You now have a new answer. Nothing. Nothing is fucking wrong with you. You are responding appropriately, biologically, emotionally to a setup that has asked too much and given way too fucking little. And the good news, once we name it, we can shift it. Mom rage is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new one. One where you get to matter again. One where love doesn't mean losing yourself. One where the story of our family includes joy, your rest, your boundaries, and your dreams. So if you need permission today, here it is. You're allowed to need space. You're allowed to stop being the default. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to feel rage and still be a loving, phenomenal, and fucking badass parent. And you are not alone. I'm Clementine Lord, and I'm so glad you've been hanging out with me on Are You Fucking Kidding Me? A thoughtful parenting podcast. Seriously, thank you for showing up here with me today, for listening not just to me, but to yourself. I mean, we've talked about burnout, we've screamed about cereal, we've cried in the bathroom. Now it's time to ask, after the burnout, what comes next? Well, in the next few weeks, we'll talk about reclaiming joy. Not the curated kind, not the Pinterest kind, the kind that comes with dirty dishes in the sink and a laugh that snorts at your nose. The kind that comes when you remember who you are again. And until then, breathe deep, love big, and rage when you fucking need to. And don't forget, you're not just surviving this, you're writing a new kind of love story. And you, my friend, you fucking matter.